Hey everybody, Alex Miller at Caffeine here. You might have seen my video yesterday. I was talking about Meta's in this really big headache where the European Union just told them they've got to stop sending European user data to servers in the United States. And so this is probably going to be more and more of a headache in the years ahead. One way you can future-proof against this kind of issue where you're always running into new problems about where you're allowed to host data is to keep that data encrypted while it passes through those different jurisdictions. And what my company does and what our tool Ghost PII does is exactly well, we want to give you access to high-tech, new, pervasive encryption technologies that let you actually work with that encrypted data. So you can run your app just like normal anywhere over the world, and whatever happens to the story about who's allowed to see what data in what country, you're going to be insulated in that. And to make that more accessible to you, we've been working on some iOS tools. Hopefully, pretty soon, it's just going to be you would develop how you would normally develop, and behind the scenes, tools are going to talk to Ghost PII and do that fancy encryption for you and give you those benefits. Today, though, we're going to get a little bit in the weeds. I'm here with my colleague, Jack Phillips, to talk about exactly what this means, what kind of progress have we made, how would you interact with it. You want to just tell us a little bit, Jack, about, show us some code, what's exactly happening, what does the data look like, where does it go?
Yeah, absolutely. So we here at Capneon have been working on some iOS development recently, specifically getting in between your app and the database so that you can deal entirely in encrypted data. Firebase and Firestore is a very common thing to do with iOS apps. So we've put ourselves in the middle between your app and Firestore so that you deal with encrypted data. And as you can see from this code, it's not a very heavy lift. You've got 2 lines of code that you need to add before you send it off to the database, and that takes care of everything for you. And we'll be adding a lot more functionality here coming up soon. But right now, you can see from this code, we obfuscate all of this different kind of API code that gets you encryption keys and manages your encryption keys. And you don't have to deal with it at all. You've just got to add getting encryption keys and then adding those encryption keys. And then you can send your data straight off to the database. And as you can see here, when it actually gets into Firebase, all of your data is encrypted. This is just some simple stuff. It should look like this in plain text. Once this loads, it's just a little bit of information about a date and a username, but for anybody else, you can't see any of the data. It's all encrypted, and even if somebody got into your Firebase that shouldn't have been there, they wouldn't have access to any data.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out a couple of things here, if it's all right. As part of this project, we're going to be going on, and we'd eventually like to present you with a bow-wrapped iOS tool. But as we go through the project, we're actually going to build an app, and we're going to add some stuff like analytics of the data that you put into the app. And the point of this is one thing that people struggle to understand, the processor hosting your app is actually going to work directly with this encrypted data. They're not going to decrypt it and then work with it and encrypt it again. It's an advanced cryptographic magic trick to actually work with this ciphertext data you see right here. Well, and why is this a benefit? Well, if you wanted to host an app and you were concerned about where your data is being hosted, this solves that problem for you because it's not being hosted in plain text. And you can future-proof what you're doing over these considerable headaches like what Facebook is seeing in Europe. So, Jack, you're working on that, right? That one of the next phases is analytics. You're going to show people some computations on this. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to show people how they can do computations just like they normally would, except with our cool magic trick of doing it right on the encrypted data.
Yeah, well, sit tight, everybody. And once again, we really like to take you to the promised land of you can do development just like you normally do it and just have a really radical new level of control of risk and ability to comply with regulations. And we're going to give you that play by play over the coming weeks. So keep your eyes open, everybody.